I want to talk about inventory and how to account for it. So, if you think about a gas station that sells lots of small pieces of candy, people grab a bunch of gum and put it on the counter and pay for it. Well, the gas station does not specifically know which specific item it sold. It just knows that it sold, say, 15 pieces of bubble gum. And so the problem occurs when the gas station purchased that bubble gum at different prices. Say, one lot of bubble gum they paid 3 cents for, and the next one they paid 4 cents for. So the question is, on that given day, should they expense the 3-cent bubble gum or the 4-cent bubble gum? And that's what we're going to learn how to do today. Now, this would not be necessary for a store that sold something like an engagement ring, because they would specifically identify the ring when it was sold. For example, if they paid $10,000 for the ring, they sold it for $14,000, then they would specifically show in their records that that particular ring was sold and that it originally cost them $10,000. So these cost assumptions are only necessary when we sell high quantities of low dollar inventory items. Alright, so what do we have here? We have 3 methods that we're going to learn how to use: FIFO, LIFO, and average cost. Alright. So I'm just going to make a couple notes over here. FIFO stands for first in, first out. Next we have LIFO, which stands for last in, first out. And then we have one where we average all the costs together, called average costs. Alright, let's look at FIFO first. This cost assumption is going to assume that we're going to sell the oldest items first. So if you have an inflationary period where your oldest items are less expensive, then you're going to expense the less expensive ones first, and you'll be have the more expensive items in your inventory. Last in, first out is going to say basically that you sell the most recent items first. And so therefore left in your inventory will be the older items, and if you are in an inflationary period, then you would assume that your oldest items are going to be less expensive. An average cost just takes all of your units and you times it by their cost and then divide by the total number, and that gets you your average. Okay, so here what we want to do is we're going to do FIFO first, and the first thing I'm going to calculate is my cost of merchandise sold. And then I'm going to have a place over here for me to be able to put in my FIFO cost of merchandise inventory. So whatever I get from this block right here will be the answer to this one. And whatever I get in this block over here, my final answer, will go into this block. That's what I'm trying to calculate. Alright, so the problem says that there are 24 items remaining in inventory at December the 31st. Determine inventory cost and cost of merchandise sold at December 31st. So they're telling me how many items I have left. So what I need to do is find out how many items I sold. So to do that, I'm going to look at my beginning inventory, which was 21 units, 21 units. And then I'm going to add all my purchases. So I need to add together my number of units of purchases. So I need to add 29, 10, and 15. So if I just say equals 29 plus 10 plus 15. That is the number of units that I purchased during the period. And I'm going to subtract out the ending inventory that they told me that I have 24 items remaining. When I sum that, I will get to my number of units sold, and then I just have to assign a cost to those number of units that I have sold. So I must have sold 51 units. Okay, so if I sold 51 units, we just need to decide which 51 units I sold. Right now we're doing first in, first out. So I'm going to look at my oldest items first to sell those first. So I have 21 units at $180. I need 51 units. So let me use up all of those 21. So 21 units at $180 gives me a total amount of $3,780. Alright, I sold 51. So 21 have been accounted for. Now let's look at 29. I need 30 more units, so all 29 of these have also been sold. Alright, that gives me 50 units, right? So 21 plus 29 is 50. So I need one more unit. So one of these units was sold, and that was at $204. So my total value of my merchandise sold is going to be the sum of $37.80, $56.55, and $204 for $96.39. So that's going to belong right here. Next, I need to see how much is left in inventory. Okay, well, I sold all 21 units of this one, so it's gone. It's no longer there. So let's just put 0 for quantity and leave the rest blank. I sold all 29 of those, so they're also 0. I sold one of these, so instead of having 10 units at 204, I now have 9 units at 204. Remember, this is remaining in inventory. And then I haven't sold any of these yet, so I have the full 15 units remaining in inventory times its price. Okay, remember that the problem said that at the end I have 24 units of inventory remaining, right? So let's just double check. Am I saying 24? Yes. I'm saying I have 24 units left, and now I need to know the cost. So, actually, I'm just going to come over here and add this. So $4,986 is how much I have left. And notice that that gives me the most recent purchases remaining in my inventory, which is correct because I assumed that I sold my oldest ones. Now, I want you to compare that, what we just did, to using LIFO. So we're going to do the exact same thing, except for instead of this being FIFO, this is going to be LIFO, cost of merchandise inventory, and this is going to be LIFO, merchandise inventory. So let's see what's going to happen differently this time. Okay, we still have the same quantity remaining in our inventory of 24, which means that we still sold 51. But because this time we're going to assume that we sold our most recent items, we're going to start right here. Alright, we need to sell a total of 51, and we're going to start with our most recent items, so we must have sold all 15 of these items. Alright, we still need to sell some more because we got to go all the way up to 51. Alright, so we need 36 more. Okay, so that means that we sold all 10 of these. Now we need 26 more, and so that means that we sold 26 of these 29. Okay, so that means that our total cost of merchandise sold, according to FIFO, is going to be $10,260. Now we're going to look and see how much we have remaining in inventory. We sold all of the units at the bottom, so there are 0 units remaining. We sold all 10 of these units, so there are 0 units remaining. And of the 29 units, we have sold 26. So that means that we have 3 units remaining. At $195. And then we haven't sold any of these, so we have all 21 units remaining at $180. So the total amount in our inventory using the LIFO assumption is going to be $43.65, and I'd just like to double check myself here. If I sum up my quantity in inventory, I still get 24, which is what I needed to have because it told me that I needed to have 24 items remaining. And so that is how the LIFO is done. The last calculation that we need to do is going to be for the average cost method. So I need to find out what my average cost is of my items that I have. I'm going to put it down here just so that it's easier to show you exactly how we're going to do this. So these are the quantities that I have from right above here. And then these are going to be the costs that I have from above here. So we have 180, we have 195, we have 204, and we have 210. Okay, so if I need to know what the average of these are, I would multiply the total cost of each at each price. So I said 21 times 180, 29 times 195, etc. And then I would get a total at the bottom of here. 14,625 is my total cost of inventory at this point. And then I need to know my total number of units, so I'm going to also sum my total number of units. And I'm told that I have 75. So to get the average, I'm going to say 14,625 divided by 75. This is my average cost per unit, $195. Average cost per unit. Okay. I know that in inventory I have remaining 24 because they told me that, right? So my inventory remaining is going to be 24 units times 195. Oh, I need an equal sign. For $4,680. That is my ending inventory. So I can go ahead and put that in as my cost of merchandise inventory under average cost. Again, that was just the 24 items times the average cost. So that is going to equal $4,680. Okay, I know that I sold 51 units. How did I know I sold 51 units? Because I calculated it earlier. I sold 51 units. So I'm going to say 51 units times the average cost, which was $195. And I will get $99.45, and that is going to be my cost of merchandise sold. And that is how you calculate inventory under the assumptions of FIFO, LIFO, and average cost.